9:00. I'll call the meeting to order. If you'll join me for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You've all received the minutes. What are your wishes for the last meeting?
Move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Yeah, you are up.
First thing on the list is a contract, looking for approval for furnishing and stockpiling granular surfacing material from the Bruns Quarry. The contract grand total is $255,060. Every year we have local contract haulers haul some of our rock. So this would go towards them hauling as a local hauler, also hauling out of their own pit. We're looking to haul 12,000 tons of rock road material and 3,600 tons of shoulder material.
Any other questions about this?
Where's that stockpile gonna be?
The road rock is gonna be located on that grass area that we own on the southeast corner of the Wellsburg Road and Highway 20. And then the shoulder rock will be at the Buck Grove shop. We're gonna be shouldering the east-west road there, and then the three north-south roads, one that's going by the Buck Grove shop, the Wellsburg, and then there's the one T15, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
The one that goes up, ties into Highway 57. That comes out of Ackley.
Okay. All right.
Looks like about 88 miles of road rock, 12,000.
Yes. It's for everything south of Highway 20 in Bruns's rock territory. And then we will be hauling another 12,000 tons for 20 north out of their pit. So we're not doubling back. Double haul miles.
Makes sense.
I would take a motion, oops,
Yep,
Another pile started or?
trying to build that up ourselves. We got a pile here in Grundy going. Yeah,
At times since they're not moving snow.
yep,
Okay, that's great.
yeah, winter jobs.
I would take a motion to approve this contract.
Make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So,
I'm, next thing is I'm looking for approval to go and solicit bids for a excavator, motor grader pickup. Not saying that we're gonna buy it, I just wanna know what are our costs gonna be if we get it to our specs and where we're sitting at. It's just to go out and get the bids, not necessarily act on them. That would be, and once we get the bids, then I'll bring it to you guys to see what you guys wanna do. So it depends upon how our budget comes in, so it's not really defined upon what our budget limits are, but if you guys end up changing, because I know the budget's not approved yet.
so it's more for information
Yeah.
only at this time.
Well,
And
it's something to act on if we
Yeah.
want to proceed with the actual purchase of it.
to act on getting information.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
How'd you ever end up with the repairs on the excavator that was in the shop? I know they were doing considerable. amount.
Yes, yeah, that's the one that's needed replaced at the current moment.
Well, that's the question I had. How much did you put into it? Will you
I
recoup
have
that
not-
money on a grade or?
Well, it had no brakes.
Yeah.
So we had to put brakes on it. I mean, It was either us or the next guy. And then I think we had to work on the hydraulic, valve body. So
Did you do anything with the,
I don't believe we did anything on the circle. I don't recall anybody telling me we were. I know we were talking about the valve and I know we were talking about the brakes. I know the rear brakes went out a while ago. But we had front ones, so they didn't do anything with it, but then finally the front ones went out, so we had to do something. But it's, when we go to sell, somebody was gonna have to do it anyway. Now, are we gonna get our money back?
oh, if you gotta use it a while, you gotta have it anyway.
Yes. Cause I'm assuming, I don't know how long it's gonna take us to get an excavator. I know motor graders are 18, 20 weeks. I know dump trucks, snow plows, 2 years. But
The last one you got was a cat
yes,
excavator, and this one's a deer. That deer was made to
yes, and deer
cross
doesn't,
the. Yeah, they're made by,
deer does not make this size with tires anymore. So,
They're not only looking for the price, but delivery.
delivery time frame, if there's any other vendors out there. I don't know if Link Belt does hired ones. Or if they're only track. I know I see some Link Belt dealers popping up.
I know it's different. Blackhawk County's got a way different model than
Yeah,
even the way it operates, and a cat doesn't really have that circle on it, you know,
is it more of a grader or not
more of a,
grade all?
yeah. They still do all their driveways and cleaning with it. It's different design than what we have.
So we're gonna go, that's what I'm wanting to do is go start collecting prices and timeframes.
Let's see, it's is there a motion to approve Jeff to solicit bids for that equipment?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay,
Well, we've been hauling rock. It looks like, tomorrow's gonna be a rain day. Not gonna get much done outside, but, we have been getting our pipe delivered that we ordered. That's been coming in on throughout the days, the last week or so. No. Please shoot north. I'll stay with the rain, but. Don't need the snow Wednesday,
not with 55 or whatever wind
Yeah.
goes.
or just cut it. I'll take the snow, just don't blow.
Will you have a driveway price list for us at some point?
I will.
That just when you said pipe. Sorry about that.
Yes, I'm kind of trying to gather all my other stuff that I wanna. All the prices and stuff, changes we need to get done.
All right, anything else? Questions for Jeff? Okay, thanks. Done. Oh, my goodness, sorry.
I think all of you have the new actual full budgets. I hope all the pages I had to change some. We are carrying between rural services is carrying rural services basic is carrying a 21% carryover balance. And general basic and general supplemental between 24 and 25, which is what we usually strive for. Since we don't get taxes till the end of September, 1st of October, actually. Or the end of September, it actually comes in. Even though they're due by the end of September, they don't get a portion till September 30th. So that's a thing, a balance we've had shot for years. I think. Alan had emailed you out originally a sheet that I had prepared on if the taxes on that sheet hasn't changed. I don't currently have a copy of it.
Is that this one?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. Did you order?
Let's have everybody see that.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's on your computer.
Yeah, I was gonna print that too, but I didn't. Right.
Otherwise,
so, the budget else, I mean, rural services is right now, the max levy that we can get with the 1% cut. The general basic levy had a 1% cut because of the valuation. Our valuation increase was like
so 287.
287 for general and 2.34 for rural. Because that was over the 2.75. Both the levies that we had last year got trimmed back by 1%. So it was roughly, I think Alan and I figured roughly 70,000. We couldn't get even valuation from general basic and about 69,000 for rural services. I think in the whole.
That was
scheme-
what was trimmed off. That was what was
that
trimmed
was
off
what was
due
trimmed
to
off, yeah.
the legislative changes.
Yeah, and they're still not done yet, so who knows what might
Yeah, no.
come down the pipe.
Mhm.
We had a meeting with the Department of Management, and a webinar for the whole state. Thursday, wasn't it? I believe.
Yep.
And part of it was just answering the mail out questions that'll be going, I mean, the mail outs. We have to have this into the state, it's into the state, and then the proposed part by Wednesday at 4 o'clock. So, and that gets mailed out in a new form this year than it was last year. The legislature's made some changes. Kind of hard to tell from this one, but they are going to, the current year, they're gonna use like $100,000 and for residential, like houses, and then they're gonna, for the comparison, they're gonna put 110,000 for a 10% increase for the fiscal year 26. So it's gonna show a bigger increase. But that's what the legislatures thought was in their mind better. Commercial. It's 300,000 is what they're basing it on, and so it'll be 10% or 10% added for fiscal year 26 is 330. And that's what they're doing as this mailer that will go out. It's a 2 back and front mailer. Which will have, if you have commercial property, it'll show like a 30% increase in your value. You might not have a 30% increase in your value, or a 10, I mean, not a 10. You might not have a value increase this year because this is the year for revaluation that Mike's working on, and that'll go out at the end of this month. I think it has to be out by, I don't know, is it April 1st now or something, or April 30th, but Mike's working hard at getting that part done. He's trying to be fair on it right now. I know the residential houses, the Department of Revenue has them that he's like 9% below 100%. They take all the sales and then you have to average it, the sale price, to what your valuation is, and sales have been strong yet, like in houses. So he's gonna have to add something, either that or the state automatically just does it, but they do it in the fall. And then that law got changed a couple years ago, that the auditor's office then has to print them out, those notices and send them out. And Mike doesn't want that to happen because there's houses like in the new addition, well, like in Conrad, Dyke is pretty, the golf course is pretty accurate, the new additions in Grundy Center, those houses are already valued at really market value. So he's working on trying to get, it's a complicated program, the Vanguard program, but it's trying to get the houses that are actually going higher on market than what he has to assess that. It's
And
a
he's-
hard job to get that figured out.
And he's doing that all himself rather than hiring, I mean,
Yes.
having anyone outside come in and do
We
any of
worked
that.
on commercial and got commercial done, but every so many years, he will hire Vanguard to do revalues on commercial because we don't have that many commercial sales. So he hires Vanguard, who works, has, I think, almost every county in the state for their software, but they also will go out and do appraisals. It wasn't that many years ago. I think John Freeze had hired Vanguard to actually go out and go through every house. Notices were sent, or it was sent out, but that's where you catch the ones that maybe haven't reported to you that they finished the basement off and it's now finished, and you find those, or they added something on. The bigger, I mean, most of the towns for building permits, they'll send it to the assessor's office, so they know they have to look at that house. But commercial is very hard because sometimes you're buying the property, and sometimes you're buying the property and the business. So the sale price can be odd on that, but this is what has to go out. We can start mailing them on probably Thursday, send them to the printers. And the proof of, then we have to have a proof of publication or publish proposed levy. Al and I have it set up for March 24th at 8:30 a.m.
That'll be the public hearing.
That's the public hearing. You don't have to take, there's no official action. You just open the public hearing,
At a separate meeting rather
separate
than
meeting,
this one.
and you close it. And then you start your normal one where you do the pledge of allegiance and all that. This is just a hearing.
And that's for the proposed.
That's for the
Levy.
proposed budget, right?
Proposed, yeah.
Just for the, and that's just for the levy, that isn't, I mean.
It's
that's
the
just
levy
the
and then
amount.
they get this
Right.
mailer in between time.
Mhm.
State has a whole set of dates. I mean, we can't have the proposed public hearing before March 20th. So we got it up to 24th, which is a Monday. The mailers have to be out within a certain time frame by the 15th.
Yeah, I think they have 15th. They gave us an extra 5 days.
5
this year.
days. Last year was the first
A
time.
little sooner.
Well, it fell over a weekend, didn't it? That,
Yeah.
as far as
Friday
getting them
night,
mailed out. Yeah.
Amy had pulled down the file a couple times during the week just to test it out and print, a few samples here. Everything was correct. Friday at 4 o'clock, she pulled the file down and checked a few things and it was all messed up, and the state had done something, everybody across the state was screwed up.
Yes.
There were auditors staying at 9 o'clock that night trying to get the file downloaded. That
Make
was
sure they
correct.
could get it mailed out, yeah.
Alan called the printing service and they said, well, if you can get it to us Monday morning, that's what will be. They had it fixed fine by Monday morning, but.
Send it out all screwed up.
So I'm sure Amy will be doing the same thing once, probably not Friday night or.
And all of
Wednesday,
the
but
other
then-
information, because the cities and schools, that information's all
Yeah.
been submitted, because that all has to be on there also.
Cities and schools and counties.
They're all
are there.
supposed to be, and there's 3 cities that don't have their stuff in yet. Okay, so we'll probably reach, I know the state's already reached out to those that have not completed them, but we'll probably do the same as well.
And if, according to the meeting last Thursday, if they don't get it done, they are stuck with last year's,
Mhm.
budget levy.
They don't get to change. Yeah.
They have their teeth in it. We go through all that, and after that hearing on the 24th, we will set up the actual budget hearing, which I forgot what date in April we
The
had.
14th or the 21st possibly.
Yeah, 14th, I think is what we were gonna try for. Or the 21st, but
14th or.
we have to have it done and certified in all the schools, the cities. Everybody has to have it certified back to the auditor's office by the 30th at closing time.
Okay.
But I went through the budget, we made some minor changes, they didn't amount to anything, just more just little corrections. Alan had gone through, line item by line item, yesterday, and sent an email out, I replied back to all of them. There's one that we have to contact or look at for, it was revenue coming in from the landfill for recycling. It's been at 2,500 and all of a sudden it's now at 25,000. But I don't know if the landfill fills their own budget out or not, or if Angie just,
He emailed it back, it's supposed to be 2,600, just like the last
Okay.
year.
we have to make that change, because I left it at 26,000.
So we are still able to make changes.
Yeah, for that type, yeah, this isn't
This
set
is
in
just
stone
yeah.
until, I mean, I'm hoping today we can be set in stone. But you're talking minor amounts that aren't going to, when you're talking millions, it's not going to make a big effect on the bottom line.
I'm curious, what cities are we still waiting for?
I'm thinking it was Beeman, Holland, I know for sure, and there's one other one I can't remember. I have to ask Amy, or look back through it again.
Oh.
I know BCL school wasn't done yet either.
One question for you I had, and I replied back for. Alan recognized your. Bridge replacement money coming in. It used to be, what was it, 1.3 in 25, and it's 15,000 for this year.
Mhm.
I said, that's probably because you're not doing a big enough bridge
Correct.
to. Get funds back for. Because in order to get federal and state, yeah, it has to be a certain. Dollar amount or a bigger bridge. And I figured with all
So
your,
it's based on, so with our projects now, what we're anticipating in being reimbursed for. Now, they're the small local bridge, smaller, still state funded bridges. We'll get reimbursements. The bigger ones, we don't even pay out, they pay for us. So we're not anticipating doing this certain size of bridge with state or with state federal funds.
Okay. So the size of bridge you're doing will not be a reimbursable
Correct.
area.
One thing on your guys' budget, when you guys set your public hearing, my budget is due April 15th to the Iowa DOT. So
They haven't changed that.
whether or not you guys do yours on the 21st, I will have to bring mine to you for approval and try to keep our county one and our state one, our DOT one the same. So if you guys are anticipating any changes, please let me know so that I can have my
well,
DOT one squared away before I have mine.
right now, I mean, we match exactly what you have, and you're getting the max. In tax dollars from rural.
Or if you
and
change any
general.
expenditures.
Yeah, and right now, the sheet that you gave us, we balance exactly.
Perfect.
So, so we're in good shape on that. I don't foresee any changes on it, so. This is my re-estimate sheet.
Does anyone have any questions for Dawn or Angie as she has popped in?
I gave Angie some changes. There were just minor things that we didn't know, like what was gonna be the net taxes, transfers from here and there. You know, it's nothing major. We do have to set up, which Alan didn't get the email from the state on Friday late, for medical or mental health.
Mental health advocate.
Advocate. We have set up in the general basic fund. And they gave us the new account numbers.
Because that will then be reimbursed by the ASOs, is that correct?
Yeah, supposedly.
Yeah, when they get their money and they get their direction. If
Yeah,
they
we
get their direction.
know the money. Oh, that's why I'm not finding it. I just gotta find it back. Oh, that was not that. Too many emails.
That's part of the mental health realignment that was always taken
Yeah.
by social services. And
Due to the fact, I mean. Is the mental health advocate, which the translation of behavioral health services to a singular behavioral health administration services organization. Nicknamed BHSASO, away from the mental health. MHDS regions, which we had counties have been asking for clarification regarding budgeting about the mental health advocate costs in fiscal year 26. For our understanding, this is an expense the county can seek reimbursement from the BHASO. It will not be prepaid. And after talking with HHS and the auditor of the state, they gave us the account numbers that were supposed to be used, and it has to come out of the general basic fund. Those two number or accounts need to be created and put in, but I'm gonna assume it's a wash. Because whatever we pay, we can ask for reimbursement,
it should be a
Yes.
wash.
but that's why we carry a little, I mean, that 25%, because it does help
With some of those things.
with those type of issues where you don't.
So on that issue, you did also create, county social services did not receive the disability access point that they had put in. And so at this time, as of right now, we don't know that, like Todd, he has been helping out with that. So you did put some money in the budget for,
I put $20,000 in, some office supplies and FICA.
just to cover that amount in the budget. Now, going forward, I think I would like to propose that we explore maybe talking with some other people already employed by the county to see if they'd be willing to take on that responsibility. I'm talking with Todd more. This was all decided later this weekend. I mean, they didn't get the news until Wednesday.
Yeah, it was late.
Yeah, they were supposed to have found out last week, but they did not. So just to be on the safe side, we wanted to make sure that Don put that money in the budget.
Because it's not a full-time job.
No,
I mean, it's a,
so we'll need to explore some of those options.
We see 1 to 3 claims a month or less. I mean, we can see 0 claims.
Yeah.
Too, so it's very, very part-time.
But this was also one of those changes that was not, I would say, accounted for by the state when they were changing this over.
well, they don't ever account for it. Sorry.
So, no, you're right. I mean, it was a
Forgot
change
to
that
read
came
it
in.
for it.
I
That's
haven't.
okay, Don,
I
good to
haven't.
be honest.
It's one of the changes that they didn't, we're in budget, trying to get this lined up. It's something you have to still account for, but at the
Yeah.
last deadline, they came through with this, so.
Todd had really, when I talked to him earlier this week, or last week, I should say, or during the week. we had a nice chit chat on it, but he said when he took it over. He said, I had no people mad at me, because he actually, some of them came in and just said, applied for it, like in the winter time or something. And he asked them, you have to find out, he would ask, and he said, this gets uncomfortable, because you gotta find out really what their financial position is. Well, some of them are like, well, I got it last year, I should be able to, I got it the last few years, I should be able to get it this year, so. He had weeded a lot of these people out that were just could have paid for it, but had gotten it, always, and he says, you gotta actually sit down, it's hard for them to tell them your finances, but it has to be somebody who's,
It's a lot of
I'm not saying
confidentiality.
being hard nosed, but you gotta ask the question to find out, or do you really meet the requirements?
Yeah.
Because there's operation threshold that they can get stuff from, that was an option that, Todd mentioned. Working out something with operation threshold to manage it. I mean,
So, well, and I think, it was all rather last minute, but in order to make sure that we had something
Yeah.
accounted for in the budget, that's been done, so we have time now.
So that's a
Going forward.
fictitious figure that you have. in
Yeah,
there.
that figure is not, that is definitely not a set in
We
stone
need to be
figure,
aware of
so
that, yes.
when you're looking at it, that's, but there again,
in
that
the
would,
scheme of things, it's not something that a full-time person can do, maybe a full-time person. Would be willing to take it over for a little extra money.
Yeah.
Um,
but that figure is not, that's not set in stone,
Oh,
but it is
no.
something that we needed to create because it wasn't,
Yeah, there was
before.
nothing there, so we had
So,
to
that's
put
just a
something in.
FYI, I guess, is what that.
Todd did it on his own. The claims went out for what Angie would pay for those
Yeah.
people who needed help, but. We had to put a salary with like an Ivers and,
It was just in,
just
Todd did it as
something
an
put in
inclusion,
there for a part-time person.
so
Because
that's,
if you didn't put anything in there, then you couldn't amend it if you needed to.
Well, we could still amend
Oh, you
it,
still
and
could.
it still might, we don't know how much,
but we
it
have
would be,
that, that line item is in there now to cover that,
yeah.
so that's taken
But
care of.
we're covered for $20,000. And it's the same, I mean, I'm not saying same, but I think, I don't know. Todd help you out with the other line items for like rent help or utilities.
He had his budget in there already,
Okay,
and so that didn't have to be
Yeah.
changed.
it was
Because
just
he had
adding
already done,
a
yeah.
salary account number and like an IFRS account number.
So that it
So
should
we
be.
got
when we
something
make
in
the-
there to see what happens. It can always be amended if things turn out different after July. Or, cause you got now till the end of June to kind of throw ideas around and come up with something.
So, yeah, just so you see that, that's what that's about.
Cause he said when he started, the previous mental health department head, trying to think if that was Karen. Mark knows what I'm talking about.
I do.
When she left, she had gotten like a 10%, whatever her salary was above. And Todd just says, I remember getting it, my salary, and I didn't get anything for it, so it was just part of my job, so. He was fine, but he said it was like 21 years ago, it was like. I think he said I started out with 41,000 or 40,000 or something, or 41,000 was the salary. He just was thinking. But yeah, it was. He said I didn't get a extra increase.
Yeah.
Right.
Any other questions for Don as far as the budget right now? I guess we,
You got any input, Angie?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I guess I should say that the department heads have been really good this year with getting me their numbers, responding back after changes to just say everything looks good. So that process is really what we've got set up works for us, and it's going really well. So thanks to them, and I don't know, thanks to Don for doing whatever he does.
Well, we really appreciate
Yeah.
that.
What he does, what he-
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, sometimes I wonder what I'm doing. Thursday, Wednesday, I think was not a good day. I was off $102,074. And I could not figure out where it was coming from. And anyway, I left here and I went to the alley. I was like, I skipped lunch, everything. I was just
Yeah.
like,
Needed a break.
Jesse had one orange Monster energy drink in his fridge. He wasn't there, but I wasn't gonna take a pop and, oh, I saw that. So it's like, I took his last one. He has more at home, but it's like, I needed something, but by the end of that day, I didn't get here right away, but it was almost like 7 hours and I'm pulling my hair and finally I think I figured it out and I'm like, it's a little after 4. I'm going to the alley.
Done. Um,
Sometimes you gotta clear your head.
Well, and that was fun because it was like, it's a fun group, but from like 4 to 5:30 out there. It's, nobody stays too late and they all like to give each other, static and
It's a good time.
it's just kind of like a nice lightheartedness before you go home and eat. Sometimes I'll order a pizza there. They got good pizza. So, but otherwise, the budget looks clean. We did not.
I mean, as far as, I just want to say, like the departments too, they've been really, really good about it. It's bare bones. It really is. There's not
because-
a lot of love.
It helps because we're a lot of counties do, some counties don't, but the IT department does handle all the computers and printers. Copiers are on each department themselves for whatever agreement that they want to set up. I know the IT department gal handles that. But, I'm glad we don't, because not everybody is in agreement when they bring in a copier for what they want. You gotta set a limit, or they set a limit to what a monthly charge would be for the number of copies. And if you go over it, you get a bill.
But each
or-
department is different in that.
Each
aspect,
department
yeah.
is different and it's like, they know what they're doing for copies and all the machines are. I don't think anybody buys them anymore, they're all leased. It's cheaper that way, cause the lease is up, you just turn it back in and you get the next newer model. But yeah, with all the taxes, I think staying the same. There was an increase of 400 and almost 19,000 in tax dollar asking. Or a 4.5% increase overall. Bond went down, even with adding the Pioneer, but the big thing was the annex next year is second to the last year. And we had a little over 200,000 in that debt service. Because the capital projects, when we did the project, got paid out of capital projects. And so I was able to put 73,000 on that one. And Butler Grundy Road, 103,000 from balance. That's what the state told us me to do, or told us what to do. Which is the same for what we're doing with Pioneer Road. Alan will be doing transfers to where you pay the bills. And then if there's any money left over after that, because it has to follow through with the economic development. Monies. I talked to Maggie on that. And. So it just can't be used for anything else. I mean, I think you're getting letters for the,
I handed those to Alan this morning.
okay. So I mean, we're covered on those 2 projects for the economic development, but if there's anything left over, it just stays in the capital projects. Once make sure the bills are all done, we transfer that into the debt service fund that is paying for it. And then we can use that to, lessen the debt payment.
Okay.
We'll see how close Alan comes in for what the interest will be. He's been checking online on. The sheet we have right now, she's just using 4%. Alan thinks, should come in or late or better. We had a nice, upgrade in Moody's, rating.
Yep.
Let you know.
Any other questions for Don? Okay,
Oh, we really wanna thank
Yeah.
your efforts, Don.
yeah,
All that
thanks, Don.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got my bill, yeah.
Yeah.
You really
Well-
gotta enjoy this type of work to do this type of work, I would think.
Well, you know, it's this time of the year, it's kind of fun, winter time, and I love to be outside around, do stuff with my. When I'm the one stupid neighbor that waters the lawn and fertilizes it too much, and I got a bunch of perennials around the house. I mean, I grew up, my grandma loved flowers. My mom loved outside flowers. And when my mom's health, she couldn't get out there, I kept her flower garden going. Well, after she passed away, I kept it going. I enjoyed it.
But you can't do a lot of that in January and February.
No,
So,
so
yeah.
it does
Gives
come
you
up with
something to
something,
do.
but at some point I'm getting older, so we're working on transition.
Well, we're happy
Yeah.
that we can fill that void for you
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
In the winter time.
Otherwise, I'd definitely be sitting like I do some days, and I've seen that program, I've seen that program.
You gotta have something to do.
All right, thanks, Don.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
You
it,
guys.
Don.
The next item is to review the 2024 audit findings and possible action. And this has been sent out to you, also passed around. Are there any questions about those audit findings? I know you
Well,
said,
primarily, it's the same
Same things.
findings he's been telling us about for the last several years.
Yeah.
Just lack of.
We're small
We're
enough.
too small.
county that-
Yeah.
that We just can't have a person doing that strictly only.
Right,
Some of the places I've managed, we always get that too, that segregation is just
not possible.
not,
Yeah.
well, not possible or unpractical.
mhm. So
I
overall,
think we were really happy with the audit findings.
Think we
that's
were.
good.
Yeah.
So. All right, and it has possible action. Do we need to just accept the audit findings or
I don't believe so.
no?
I
Okay,
think everything's been signed and
because I was gonna say there's nothing to
public
sign.
release will go out and
Yep.
everything is finished up with that.
All right, then moving on, we have resolution number 36, 2024-2025, the annexation of the property, city of Conrad. And this was brought up last week. We talked with the township trustees at all, or did they?
It did not
Okay.
need action on township trustees is why we're here. Okay.
All right, then I would take a motion to introduce this resolution.
We'll make such a motion.
Okay,
All right, Alan, would you call the roll, please?
Yes, Vic,
yes,
Jeff,
Yes.
LJ,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
and Heidi.
Yes. Thank you. Discussion and possible action regarding the landfill post-closure cost estimate and financial assurance report form and authorized chairperson to sign the same. You find that in the stack, and that too was emailed to you and also passed around. Is there any discussion? Otherwise, I would take a motion authorizing me to sign this.
Also move.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Any opposed? And then we have a motion or to approve the liquor license for the Town and Country Golf Club. Is there a second?
Okay.
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Right, that passes. What's that? Review the IGHCP dental and vision coverage benefit offering and possible action. And this too was emailed to you. Alan got some quotes for both the vision and dental. Alan would be here to elaborate on any of this.
Yeah, they said they went out and got a little bit more aggressive with Delta. Because they're looking at it, it's not each individual entity that we have in that group, it's the group as a whole. So I think they got some really good pricing, because this is quite a bit lower than last year's offering. You still have 4 different plans for dental, because you see that you can be single or employee spouse only, or employee with children, or the full family. But there's been some some requests from some of our employees that they would like to see this offered
And this would be at their expense.
at their expense. That's correct.
So no cost.
No cost to the county.
How much extra paperwork does that involve on our end?
There's probably gonna be I'm not sure if the actual form will change or if it's just an additional document, to add that coverage, but probably the majority of the work gets to be done by Angela by putting it in the system
How would they pay it? Through their payroll?
through their payroll.
Then they would have to have a budget line item for that.
So we'd have to change budget line items for those things.
I mean, that could be something we look at in the future. But to add it this year, because there would have to be a budget and then it would come out of their paychecks, just like insurance and stuff does
Yeah.
now. So it would be new line items.
But we would
and
need to have kind of an idea of how many would be interested.
How
in
many
the
would
line
be
item.
interested in some time? I think.
You're saying it could easily start the 1st of July.
Oh, I don't know about that. Especially with the budgets the way they are right now, we can't just all of a sudden start adding a bunch of new stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
where it gets a little problematic because we kind of want this stuff like almost January 1st. You want to start getting this about when they start changing their, looking back at it, when IGHCP kind of rolls over on health coverage, but our open enrollment is always in June for the next fiscal year. Yeah, and I didn't think about that part of it.
Yeah. Unless they were gonna pay with a check, which would also be just a pain. To Angela and,
Cause then she would have to keep track of,
Everything.
everybody paying
yeah,
and when payments were made.
yeah. So the budget would have to get involved. And then paperwork and, yeah, a lot of things. I'm not saying it's not possible sometime in the future. But by July 1st, with the budgets the way they are right now, I don't think it's something that we can do.
What's the monthly premium?
Look at this.
For the,
Okay, cool. Cause I can get you a head count of who would actually have accepted with giving them dollars.
I mean, I
Dollar
think
figures,
it's,
but-
yeah, I think it's a great thing to
Yeah.
be thinking about. When I first started, I was surprised.
I think
There was
the-
no dental. I wasn't that surprised about vision, but I was surprised about dental, and I think that's what a lot of people are looking for their families. And I think it would be something good
so ideally it would be good to get a head count kind of, or an
Head count.
estimated head count now
to see if it's something that
And
we think
then-
is valuable.
going forward, but it
Yeah.
would probably be,
A year from now.
yeah, easier to get it into
Yeah,
a budget line item for next
but
year.
I think
And
that's
work
still
it in.
positive, yeah.
I think that's pretty much the
Because, yeah,
decision needs to be made then like that.
yeah,
I agree.
so, we do have. Well, not until April, but it would be something we could bring up at the next department head meeting
Yeah, I think that's a
and
good idea.
put that on that agenda. And get some counts started and get
It'd
the
be a real
process
positive.
started.
It'd be a real positive for the county. That's how I feel as an employee.
And it's costing the county as far as it's gonna be extra work for Angela.
Right.
To do, but,
And- Yeah, the line items and so forth, but still.
but if we do it in this form, it will be, you'll have time
Yes,
rather than rushing through now and
Right.
trying to change a lot of things. Okay. So
I think
then
that's a good plan.
we will put this on the department head agenda. I will make sure that gets on there. And all those papers are signed. Thank you. So at this time, that will be our course of action. I don't think we would need a motion for that right now. Just get that started. Thanks for the input, Angie. Discussion and possible action concerning HHS data request, and this was brought up last week. Erica was here. We did have a phone call Monday afternoon with someone from ISAC. This was HHS is requesting from the county to sign off on a data release for all the mental health services. The county's in a 28E, which then ISAC holds the information, but we would need to allow them to release it. And the information was quite extensive. After talking with them and Erica working on the call, her recommendation is that we would just wait and see if HHS comes back. They have the possibility going forward, since they will be in charge of those regions. When people come in for services, they are able to ask them to sign a release of information. So anyone going forward could sign the release of information for their own case. They were asking for cases that have possibly been closed or from the past, and I don't know, sorry. Don't really know why they
Just wait.
need that. I would not be comfortable signing off on that. I feel like it would be a complete HIPAA violation.
My view on this is, I think they need to force us to do it rather than us sign off on it. That's my opinion.
And that's kind of
That-
where
that
Erica
takes us
was
out of it.
coming from also, is that, they do have a way to get the information they need going forward. So I don't think we need to
Well, then
sign off
I
on it.
think, yeah, that's where all we ought to go.
So I guess I would maybe appreciate though having a motion to that effect, that we would just wait or decline their request for information at this time.
I'd move that we
Okay.
decline their
Request,
request, yes.
I'll
okay,
second that.
all right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Review Metro Waste Authority requested correction and authorized chairperson to initial the correction. This was just probably a typo. They forgot to change the year on the contract. And so it's changing from 2024 to terminating at 2027 rather than the day before it became effective. So if I could have a motion to authorize me to initial that.
I'll make it.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Just initial beside that, hopefully that's good. All right. Approve the cyber insurance application and authorize chairperson to sign the same. This too was passed around.
This is just so he can get. Our agent can go out and get the proposal for what our premium's gonna be for that cyber
Yeah,
policy.
because there's no dollar amount on here. right?
Correct.
So let's just do that.
Get the quote started.
Get the quote
So
started.
moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And are there any updates on board or committee meetings?
And Central Iowa, long story short, I don't know if we're a authorized member or not. The they've been, Hardin County is questioning the 28E agreements and how they were, how and if they were properly executed. At this point, they would recognize anybody up until the 2000 version.
Because it wasn't updated, is that what, that was kind of, that the
Procedure is
2080
that,
was?
yeah, each county, when a member asked to join, all the counties that were already in had to go back and say, yes, we'll do that.
And then update that agreement at that time? Is that
Yes.
the understanding? Okay,
They added them. What happened is Central Iowa they didn't do that. They just said, okay, the commission voted to accept them. You're in. And that's the position that we're in. And that's what Hardin is challenging. We don't quite know their end game. That there was 6 or 7 of them that originally started this thing, and they did put some dollars into the program to get it started. It has grown to be a pretty good asset, I would say, for those folks that have put money into, that they put money into. If it would be dissolved, we'd probably get something with no skin in the game. I think they're wanting to maybe equalize that somehow. So anyway, they're gonna recognize the early members. And then they've come back and said, yes, there's some members that 2012. Okay, they'll recognize those. Central Iowa thinks that there's a good case that those folks 2018 could be put into acceptance for the procedure that went through. After that, it's up in the air. And so with us being in 2024, 23, 24, we really don't know where we're at. We did have a closed session. There were some votes and I abstained from voting. Just didn't know yes or no, so I abstained. Didn't know if it'd make any difference anyway. So,
So would we, once this is all determined, are we able to, I guess if we would need to reapply to become a member? Or that is one of those things that's not determined yet?
it's not determined yet. There was a stay from the previous meeting in January. They stayed, put us, I don't know if it's a 30 or 60-day stay. They can continue negotiations. The commission voted to extend that stay another 60 days. So the two lawyers are meeting face to face, I think, to see if they can hammer out something. Where we stand, I don't know. It could be, they'll come up with a new 2080 agreement and follow the procedure at that time and make sure everybody signs off on it. So,
More to come, in other words.
we'll wait. From our standpoint, we really don't have any money involved on that, other than we get a break on the daily rate if the sheriff department or the court says it's got to go to Central Iowa. So at this point, I don't know that we can be a member, we don't be a member. I don't see.
Have to wait.
I don't see a balance going one way or the other. It just, it'd be nice just in case we had an individual go over there. Financially, Central Iowa is in pretty good shape. They've had quite an increase in medical and drug cost. And they tend to, if a kid comes in or develops a sickness, they don't wait, they just take and get him medical attention. It's not worth the risk of denying that and then facing future lawsuit. The detention centers, what is happening is that they have to take, if the court says you're going there, they have to take them. And there's so many beds that are allotted that will be reimbursed, I think is the proper term. Polk County has 33 authorized beds that are not being used. And that's a real problem when they charge for the amount of beds that they have. Polk County won't release them to anybody else, so there's a little friction between all the districts there. Polk County, if you suspect, Dubuque, Lynn County, Johnson County, those are the big counties that have juvenile problems. Fortunately, Grundy County, with our population and everything, we really don't have much of a problem. So it's the bigger counties, the urban cities that are getting the gang members or whatever, so. So at this point, we'll continue to monitor it, and maybe I'll get invited to the next board meeting, maybe not.
It's always an interesting report.
Yeah.
Anyone else have anything this week? I had, Iowa Workforce Development Finance meeting on Monday. Went through the finances, it went well. We are looking for, working on an audit. We have RFP out, so we're working through that. We'll have a couple meetings dealing with that. Central Iowa Juvenile Detention is our fiscal agent, and Cassie does all of that work, and she does an excellent job on that. So it was pretty standard. Tuesday, Ellen and I went to the leadership conference that ISAC put on. It was good. I thought there was a lot of, it was leadership, but followership also. And I will admit, I thought when the fire alarm went off that it was part of it, just to see how we would lead or follow out of the building. However, it was not. It was, I'm not sure if it was a drill or real, but everyone else was leaving the building also. So that was the exciting part. On Wednesday, I had county social services meeting, and yes, at that time we were, well, they had informed us by email, but they did not receive the RFP for the disability access points. I did send you all the email that I received about that. When the RFPs were all sent in, actually they were not pleased with any of the RFPs. However, since this is all supposed to change July 1st, they did award them to different entities. I do believe that CSS is going to appeal that ruling because didn't seem to be a lot of rhyme or reason in how it was decided. So more to come on that one. They are, however, moving forward as of July 1st. They will probably be disbanding, which means that we have 2 members that work across the street at the annex. That will change. And services going forward will change when they move over to ASOs and the other access points. So it's a time of change there. And I'll try to keep you informed when we know something. Is there anything else to come before us this morning at this time?
Hey Jeff, I'd be interested in having a updated list of county road employees.
Okay.
Everybody that works in the road department,
I got that.
there's been a lot of changes and
Yeah,
I'd just like to see the names.
Okay.
That'd be good.
email it to you.
I mean, hell, everybody.
Everybody?
Yeah, if you would,
Yeah.
please, thank you.
Any other?
And maybe they're seniority list.
You know, we don't need to release all the data that, yeah.
Seniority'd be nice.
Seniority, yeah.
Yeah, there's we send out a seniority list in June, but I can get you the current one. We are starting the bid process. Forgot to tell you that for the truck driver out of Dyke today, or started that on Friday. So we will be putting out a new hire position to replace Wade.
When do you think you'll have that filled? You could wait with this list until after that if you want to.
I'm hoping to have an offer out towards the end of March. I'm hoping to have them here sometime in April
Oh, okay.
permanently.
but have it wait for that to be updated then?
Yeah, why don't you wait till you get that new hire? We'll have a fresh list,
Sounds good.
because there's not a lot of changes and I don't.
And I do not have any planned retirements or anybody quitting after this.
Okay, why don't you do that?
Thank you.
Great.
At this time, I would take a motion to recess. We will be reconvening at 1:30 to act on the receipt of bids for Pioneer Road. General
Are we
application.
recessed, come back to this office?
Yes,
Yes.
Maggie's gonna come back at 1:30 with us.
Okay, so moved.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we will see you back here at 1:30. Thank you.